In the heart of the forest, legends awaken from the shadows. The tales of Sasquatch echo through time, a mystery that remains unsolved.
As the smoke clears, the sign stands resolute, a beacon of intrigue. What secrets lie within the forest's depths? The quest for truth begins at Sasquatch Watch Radio. Here's Billy Willard and Gary Kendrick.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Sasquatch Watch Radio. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025, and it's good to have all of you with us tonight. We've got a wonderful guest. That'll be Mr. Wayne Totherow. We'll bring him in here in just a moment. Before we get started, we'll get our other host in here, Gary Kendrick. Are you flooded down there, Gary?
Oh, my Lord, it's bad, brother. It's bad. Our local lake was raising at a rate the other night of 1 foot an hour.
Yeah.
And that is a tremendous amount of water.
Yeah.
I'd like to
send, crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to send my thoughts out to the people in Pike County, Virginia, or Pike County, Tennessee, or Kentucky. I think they've lost 9 people already in the flood. So, let's just keep them in our thoughts. And, it's been a really trying time. We was flooding the other day, and then it snowed last night. So.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's, spring one minute and winter the next. You just never know what to expect. Yeah. And, that plays havoc on these trees. It loosens everything up, and those roots will come right up out of the ground. We've already had a couple trees fall out here on power lines, and, so it's playing havoc on the woods.
We had 4 trees fall the other night on top of the power line. So we was without power for like 30-some hours. But
wow.
I prepared, it's always my thing. Always be prepared. And we have a whole home generator. So we were all right.
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to get our guest in here tonight. Welcome to the show, Wayne. Glad to have you.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen? How y'all doing today? I appreciate y'all having me.
Great. Everybody's great. Glad to have you on. I mean, I've seen you around for quite a while. I know you do Paranormal Odyssey and that Bigfoot show. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on, so we wanted to get you in here.
Well, I appreciate that. I really do. Just getting to meet you guys for the first time tonight. Seem like a couple of good dudes. I don't know where y'all have been, why we haven't, our paths haven't crossed yet.
Well, probably because I took a good 8-hour break, or a good 8 hour. Yeah. Feels like 8 hours. About an 8-year break. And, I used to go to all the conferences and went all over the country, but I was like, man, I gotta slow down and get a breather. And so got refreshed and I'm back. So,
yeah.
And, just to let you know, before we get started, I just wanted to let everybody know we got some new things that are starting. Let me turn to my page here. So I want to mention these few things. So we just started doing this. We had such a success at our last show with the safety show that we did. It was just a topic. We did just a topic. That has been our best show since we started. So we've decided that we're going to start doing topics on a regular basis. So if y'all look at our YouTube page, and if you look at our Facebook page, I've put up a place where you can vote for what topic you'd like to see us discuss. So you can either go to our Facebook page or go to the YouTube page and you'll find that place that you can vote. And another thing that we've started is for here on out, when we have a guest, so Wayne, it'll start with you tonight. From here on out, the last 15 minutes of the show is for our listeners. So log into the YouTube chat, and the last 15 minutes is for you to ask whatever question you want to ask for Wayne, minus political questions and religion. He already made that clear. So, with all that out there, Gary, it's all yours.
Well, Wayne, I just want to welcome you to the show. Tonight we have, I'm going to try to say this properly, C Wayne Totherow. I believe it's where you pronounce it.
You got pretty dang close, buddy. It's Totherow. The
Totherow.
the T-O is pronounced more like T-U. So it's Totherow.
Totherow.
You can call me Butthead. I don't care.
Wayne is the host on Paranormal Odyssey. It's a live podcast. He also co-hosts that Bigfoot podcast. You can find that. It's not on YouTube, but you can find that like wherever you get your podcasts, Apple or whatever you do. And he is the founder of Mannimal Research. Mannimal Research. So let's jump right in there. Wayne, what got you started in forming Mannimal Research, which is a really small, select group of researchers?
You are right. There's a couple of our members hanging out in the chat tonight that I see. Mr. Goony Goo Goo, his wife Chris, Troy, Two Fingers in Tennessee. He is a member. I'm probably leaving somebody else out, and I apologize. But yeah, I founded that organization back in 2019, and I've told this story several times, and I never get tired of telling it because it's what got me, started into doing what I love. I have always been interested in Bigfoot, cryptids, all cryptids. Bigfoot has always been king. The big hairy guy. He's the one that everyone seems to lean toward. But Chupacabra, Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, didn't know anything about Dogman back then. But when we were kids, we didn't have the internet. We had the library at school that we got to go to once or twice a week and check out a couple books. Anytime I saw something on cryptids, I was checking it out. And Bigfoot was just always special to me. You grow up, you start becoming interested in other stuff, girls, sports, stuff like that. The monsters take a back seat for most of us anyway. So that happens with me. I get up, become a dad, enter the workforce, all this stuff. Life takes over. And I find myself in 2019 having about an hour commute back and forth to work, an hour there, an hour back from where I lived. And my Jeep went down. And I had to borrow a vehicle from my dad, so I borrowed a spare truck. And of course, my luck, the second day that I have that truck, the radio goes out. What in the hell am I going to do for 2 hours of my day and not being able to listen to anything? I'm going to go crazy.
Ford truck?
So, yeah, it was just an old truck. Yeah. So what am I going to do? That's when I discovered podcasts. I had heard of them, but I had never taken the time to listen to them before. So I start listening to podcasts, and I find this one that is all about the creepy. And I started binging the heck out of it. It was Monsters Among Us, Derek Hayes. I still listen to it. He does an amazing job over there. But I kept finding myself wishing everyone would just shut up and get back to the Bigfoot. And how lucky, how amazing would it be if there was a podcast out there that talked only about Bigfoot on Sasquatch? Lo and behold, there was Sasquatch Chronicles.
Yep.
So I found Mr. West over there, fell in love, started binging the heck out of it, could not get enough of it. And that's where I found out that there were actually people that go into the woods and look for these things. And it's not just out west. It's pretty much everywhere. And I'm listening to an episode one time, and there's this gentleman that comes on, and he's telling this story. He says, well, I live in Tennessee. That always gets your attention when you hear your home state. I live in Tennessee. I live in a small town about 45 minutes north of Chattanooga. I live in a small town about 45 minutes north of Chattanooga. He starts talking about this place, and that sounds familiar. He's talking about the exact same town that I live in and the same area that I have taken my family to so many times. So, and this guy's talking about having a couple of encounters, including a sighting in there. So that just got me that got me so excited. I started looking into joining groups. I started seeing all the negativity with BFRO, the Wood Ape Conservancy. Just they're awesome. They all do their own thing. I'm not talking crap about any of them, especially the BFRO. No matter what you think about them, that database is amazing. That's an awesome tool to have, to be able to just go and pick out a county and see how many reported sightings. That's a really, really cool tool to have. But what I didn't like was all of the negativity, the name calling, the you're hoaxing, no, you're lying, and all that stuff. I didn't want anything to do with that. So I started my own group. I decided to start my own group. I put an ad out on Craigslist. I know I'm taking forever, guys. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
No, you're fine.
But I put an ad on Craigslist, and I just put it out, hey, have you seen Bigfoot? I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. I'm thinking about going out and looking for him just to gauge interest, And I was blown away at the response that I got. So many people contacted me, not just wanting to go out and look for him, but people that were eager to tell me what they had seen and in my area. Like my little tri-state area. I'm in Chattanooga. I'm right down here, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. I'm right there. So I'm getting contacted by people from everywhere, North Carolina, telling me about the stuff that they've experienced. And that's where Mannimal Research took off, man. It just, in 2019, with the blessing of my fiance at the time, we're divorced now. Well, that happens. But the blessing of my significant other, which is always important, I started Mannimal Research, and the rest is history. We're going about 5, almost 6 years strong now. We're adding new members all the time. Getting out and doing some really cool stuff. I cannot be more proud of this organization that I have founded, and we're always taking more members. Anybody out there in the South that's had any issues, you would like someone to come out and check out your property, we would love to be the ones that you contact to do that. But yeah, that's how
I gotta ask, Wayne. I gotta ask. The breakup had nothing to do with Bigfoot, right?
No.
Okay.
No, she was supportive about the whole Bigfoot thing.
Okay.
That's a whole different story.
I've been in trouble more than once over Bigfoot, just for the record.
What's that, Gary?
I've been in trouble more than once over Bigfoot, just for the record.
I ain't saying I never got in trouble, but that wasn't the cause.
I know you've got members from a lot of different states. You have members from Georgia. You have members from North Carolina. You have quite a few members from Tennessee, which is your own home state.
Mm-hmm.
You have members from the state of Virginia. It seems like a pretty solid group. It is, however, a closed group on Facebook. You have to be a member to see any of the stuff. And you guys do a camp out, and I can't think of the name of it now.
Squatch out.
Yeah, the Squatch out. And I've heard a lot of things about that.
Awesome.
And it seems really interesting. You actually have speakers and everything that speak Squatch out, and people camp, and there's classes taught on like track casting and things like that. It sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Gary. Appreciate that. We always do the Squatch out around September. It's around, is it Memorial or Labor Day? Which one happens in September?
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
I always get them confused. Around Labor Day, the weekend of or the weekend after is usually when we have it. This past year was our 4th one, and it was amazing. We had, I think it was 44 people come out, and you hear 44, that's not a huge amount, but when you think it's 44 people that came to camp for 3 days,
yeah,
and they didn't just come for a single event, they came and camped and stayed for 3 days from 12 different states.
Mm-hmm.
We had people flying from Colorado. We had a gentleman and his son drive up from south of Miami to come up, Ohio, Oklahoma, just all over, come to this event. And this year is going to be the fifth year. We haven't made the permanent or the final announcements for it just yet, but it'll be in September as well. Yeah. But yeah, this year will be the 5th one. Like you said, we have guest speakers. Last year we had Miss Jessica Jones, the cryptid huntress, that
Mhm.
spoke, and Miss Lori Wade, awesome lady, that leads BFRO expeditions. She's a friend of mine. She was a speaker. We've had Dr. John Baranchuk in the past, Brian from Sasquatch Odyssey in the past, Connor, Bigfoot Anon came up and spoke a few years ago. It's a really good time. Yeah, and there will be more. Well, we'll make an announcement about that coming up soon.
Now, when I was doing my research on you and I first come across the name Mannimal, the first thing that snapped into my head, now I'm a child of the 70s and the 80s, was the old TV show Mannimal. Billy, I don't know if you remember that or not. It involved a guy that did a lot of heavy breathing and turned into wild animals.
Absolutely, yes. I do remember that.
And that's the first thing that came to my mind. But what can you tell us about forming the name Mannimal? Where did you get the idea for that at?
So tickled you asked that. Yeah, I've only been asked that a lot. This might be the second time I've been asked that question, and I always expect to get it. But I have no idea about the show you're talking about. I have never, ever heard of it. But what I was doing when I was trying to come up with the name, I've always been a fan of old things like antiques.
Mhm.
Like my name, Wayne. You don't hear Wayne all that much. It's an older name, and I've always loved my name. I like older stuff, old furniture, like antiques, old pictures, things like that. So I looked up older names that aren't used anymore. Like in the olden days, things that people called Bigfoot. And y'all don't know how close we came to being called Nuntuck or something like Nuntuck. I can't remember. Nuntuck was one of them. I was really, really close to naming it. Hairy Man was another one. Wild Man. Just the old names. And I found this list of them, and Mannimal was on there. Half man, half animal. I mean, there's that age-old debate. Is this thing an animal or is it a human? So you put Mannimal together, and it just stuck with me. It's what you ever hear something and it just sticks. That's exactly where I went with that.
That's it right there.
There you go. There you go.
Wow. Somebody had told me about that before, but I had no idea it existed.
Yeah, I'm an old dude. Put that right now. I'm an old dude. I remember that first aired.
When was that? 1983?
Yeah.
19.
I was 4 years old.
Yeah, I figured I'd pop that up there to get all of us old people refresh our memories.
Oh yeah. Wow. I mean, and
He
it was
turn into anything.
He turned into a hawk. He turned into a Black Panther, and I don't remember what else. There was like maybe one or two more that he would do. It was like the same animals every time.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of people say that and accuse me of taking the name from it, but
yeah. I mean, it's pretty classic back in the day, for real.
Yeah. Awesome. Learn something.
All right, we're going to get into some serious stuff now. Wayne, now I'm a huge conspiracy theory guy, okay?
Okay.
I like to look at all sides of everything. Now, when I say I'm a huge conspiracy theory guy, I don't sit around looking at YouTube with a full hat on or any of that other stuff. But I like the conspiracies because with every conspiracy, there's a little bit of truth in each one of them if you look.
Yeah.
So with the conspiracy thing in mind, have you ever had the U.S. military interfere with one of your investigations?
Oh, you guys are on it tonight. It was, if I had known that you guys were going to ask this question, I would have sent you a picture to prove it. We were on in an investigation with Mannimal Research in the early days. Most everybody that was on this investigation, sadly, isn't with the organization anymore because we had a big turnover after about year one. I had a difference of opinions with a couple of members, and we just went a different way, and it's just been better since. But this was in the older days. It was in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And it was probably our biggest one to date. There was like 10 or 12 of us out there. Not all Mannimal members, but family members were also there. One of the guys had his wife and then their 4-year-old son with them. We always welcome family and everything that we do. So we're out in Blue Ridge, Georgia. I could not take you back there right now if you paid me. I couldn't do it. There's no way I could get back there. You turn down this gravel road, and Gary, we were on this road for 45 minutes and never got above 5 miles an hour. You know the kind of road I'm talking about. Rutted out.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Gravel. Got to have a 4-wheel drive to get down there. We finally make it to this spot, and it is beautiful. It's this wide open field. There's a pavilion tucked in the back with picnic tables, and there's fire rings everywhere. And there's an old cemetery behind the pavilion. And in front of the pavilion, there's this wide open field. You could put 100 tents in there if you wanted. It's just an awesome, awesome place. So we get there, we get set up. We're under the pavilion, hanging out. We go and we do a hike, and we put a couple of trail cams out. That's typical for an investigation. Go find a couple cool places to put out a trail cam and just scout the area and come back and regroup and go back out at night. So we went out. That's what we were doing. It was still daytime. We start hearing all this gunfire. And I'm talking automatic rifle fire. And I'm thinking, man, the military's up here. There's some rednecks up here with a lot of money because they are unloading on something, and shells ain't cheap. It spooked us. It scared us. So we kind of cut our hike short because it was close. This was not far away. And we start heading back. Well, we get back, and everything I'm telling you guys is the God's honest truth. We get back. We're all hanging out talking. We just about forgot about everything. And a gray Humvee, a military Humvee, the old one, like the original 8 Hummers, pulls up. And then another one behind it. And this younger gentleman gets out, comes over to us. He's extremely polite, very personable. Sticks his hands out, shakes every one of our hands, says, "Yeah, we're the Army. We're the Rangers. This is where we do our training." Come to find out, that is where the Army Rangers do a lot of their training. They were on a training mission up there, and he said, "I'm sorry if we scared you. 30, 45 minutes at the most. We will be out of your hair. You have the place to yourself the rest of the night. Just wanted to let you know we were here." Yeah, that's awesome. It was cool. Had a good talk with them. I respect the military. I always have. Before he leaves, one of my buddies, Mr. Derek Walls, bless his heart, he's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he decides he's going to speak up and take that opportunity to ask him, "Well, we're out here looking for Bigfoot. You guys seen anything?" And guys, I swear, his demeanor changed. It completely changed. He went from being very polite and talkative and just outgoing to very matter of fact. He almost immediately cut the conversation off and walked back to one of the Humvees where another guy was sitting in the passenger seat. And we're like, man, that's weird. What just happened? And we look over, and him and the guy he's talking to, which I'm guessing is his commanding officer, they're looking at us and looking back at each other, looking at us back at each other. Keep in mind, they told us 30 to 45 minutes they were going to be completely out of our hair. If these guys do their job right, you would never know they were here. That turned into, we are suddenly surrounded by all these Rangers coming out of the woods. We never knew were there. They're coming out of the woods. They group up and they start gathering firewood. Like, what are they doing? Some of them leave, but about 10 or 12 of them stay. And they start building a fire and pulling out chairs. They stayed there with us all night. They didn't have a sleeping bag. They didn't have a tent. There were fields before you got to us that weren't very far, that would have been a lot more suitable to camp. But they stayed right there. And the reason I wish I'd known you asked me this is because I wanted to show you the picture to show you how close these guys were to us. This field was huge. This was a good acre field. And they were on top of us, just making it as unpleasant as possible. They were being loud. They were being vulgar. Keep in mind, we had kids there. Every once in a while, we'd look over and see one of them just stepping off to the side peeing. We had women and children that were with us. They were making it as miserable on us as they possibly could. That was supposed to be a 2-night expedition. We ended up staying that night because it was already getting dark. We got up the next morning and packed up and left because we weren't going to get anything done. And these guys, I mean, they went from just some of the nicest people you'd ever met to just buttholes. And it happened after we mentioned Bigfoot. Take that for what you want. Oh, however you want. I don't know. But that's what happened.
Well, I'll tell you, that's not unusual. Back when I was on Blog Talk Radio, now I don't think you can do it on YouTube. I haven't found the feature. But when I was on Blog Talk, you could actually look to see where your listeners were coming from. And I can't tell you how many times I saw links that had FBI in it, CIA, Department of Defense. I mean, they were listening.
You had one that was BLM one time, too. I remember us.
I did. Yeah.
Yep. BLM.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, whenever you're doing a podcast, and a lot of people, don't really think about this, but anytime that you're doing a podcast on kind of a controversial subject, like the paranormal, like cryptids, aliens, or anything like that, it's not going to be uncommon that you're going to have somebody from an alphabet agency that's tuning in.
Yeah.
Because they want to know what you hear.
Guys, I've heard that so many times. Just like y'all talked to thousands of people at this point. And I've always, you have to agree with what you're saying because there's just so many stories out there. But it just makes you wonder why. What do we know? What could me, Joe Schmo, fat guy out of Tennessee that walks around in the woods looking for Bigfoot, what could I possibly know that all of y'all with your millions of dollars in technology don't know?
Yeah, they may be afraid of what they think we might know. Right.
Back to the conspiracy thing, okay?
Like gauging our knowledge, maybe?
Yeah,
Uncle Gary's going to lay it out there. I think the government knows. But the government is trying to keep it in a close circle because it's going to affect a multi-billion-dollar a year industry. And I'm not talking about forestry. I'm not talking about any type of mining or anything like that. It is the recreation industry. If you take and announce to the population of the world that there is a 8.5 foot tall, 1,200 pound, possibly human ape in the woods that sometimes might be aggressive, you're going to watch the camping sales drop. Multi-billion-dollar a year industry.
Gary, I can agree with that. And like most things, I try to look at it in multiple ways because I have thought that exact same thing. You probably are going to lose tourists. You're going to lose campers, but you're probably going to gain some too. People, these crazy ones that want to come and look. But also, how many grizzlies are out there? We know that the grizzlies will eat your face if you're not careful. And black bears and mountain lions. I mean, there's threats. There's predators that are already out there that we know about. So, I mean, do we really think that it's going to make that much of a difference? I don't know. It could be. You could be right.
My own personal theory is that I don't really, and I say this quite a bit on the show, Wayne. I don't know if you've ever listened to our show before or not, but from my own personal opinion, and I'll take this on myself, this is just me talking.
Yeah.
I don't see a human intelligence in Bigfoot. I see an animal intelligence, but it is a high level of intelligence.
I agree with you.
And when you compare that to the bear, even a grizzly, there's no comparison to it. There's no comparison. A grizzly will hunt you. You know, it can track you, all this other stuff. But as far as the intelligence level goes, there is no comparison. And I think that's what would make the biggest difference. But, you know, I kind of got off topic there. I'm going to try to get back on topic here.
Well, do you want to take a little break real quick?
Let's do that. Let's hit it.
All right. Wayne, I asked you about music. So what we do on every show is we create a song about our guest.
All right.
So we're going to get ready and play that for you and see what you think.
Wayne Totherow sits out at dawn with a rifle slung and hopes real strong. In the forest deep where shadows play, he's hunting for that myth they say. He's heard the tales from old men's lips of giant tracks and eerie rips. Through the pines and oaks he roams, with every step he feels at home. Searching for the Sasquatch in the heart of Tennessee, a legend in the wilds where the whispering winds are free. Around the campfire flames do dance, with every crack he take a chance to spot the beast with fur so wild, in those woods like a lonesome child. Nighttime comes, the stars unfold, Wayne's heart beats though he's got no. Through the rustling leaves and hoot of owls, he swears he heard a distant howl. Searching for the Sasquatch in the heart of Tennessee, a legend in the wilds where the whispering winds are free. Searching for the Sasquatch in the heart of Tennessee, a legend in the wilds where the whispering winds are free. Campfire flames do dance, with every crack he'd take a chance to spot the beast with fur so wild, in those woods like a lonesome child. Nighttime comes, the stars unfold, Wayne's heart beats though he's gotten old. Through the rustling leaves and hoot of owls, he swears he heard a distant howl. Searching for the Sasquatch in the heart of Tennessee, a legend in the wilds where the whispering winds are free. Searching for the Sasquatch in the heart of Tennessee, a legend in the wilds where the whispering winds are free.
There you go, Wayne. There's your new theme song.
Hell yeah.
I was fixing to say, Billy, I'm feeling a little clairvoyant this evening, and I'm going to make a prediction that Mannimal Research just got its first theme song.
If you will look in the comments right there, Miss Chris Blaylock, she's a member of Mannimal Research. She is our administrator. She built our website. She has requested a copy of that song to go on our website.
I'll send it. I'll send it to you.
Probably a few dozen podcast guest appearances now. I've spoken at conferences. Never has anyone rolled out a song for me.
Well,
I appreciate
that was a good one too. That had that old Alabama kind of feel to it from back in the day.
It did. Yeah, sure did.
Good.
I appreciate that, y'all. That was cool.
That was, it amazes me we do that for all the guests, and we've had some really amazing songs come out of that. We
Kind of
really
wish I'd have said rap or something now, or reggae, just to mix it up a little bit.
reggae would be a good one. I've never heard of reggae before. That would be good.
Yeah, we haven't had that request yet.
No, that's not been one of our requests yet.
Y'all have me back, and I'll request reggae for you.
Well, Wayne, get back to the point here.
All right.
You've been doing some Sasquatch research for several years now. Started 2019, so with your Mannimal Research, you've probably been doing it about 6 years altogether. Now, in the 6 years that you've been doing that, you form opinions. You take those opinions that you just formed and you trash them, and then you start all over. That's the thing.
That's
in Bigfooting, in my own research and everything else. I've come up with things that I thought were true, and then come to find out, maybe not. But in the years that you've been doing Sasquatch research, what do you think it will take to prove the existence of Sasquatch?
A body. We're not going to do it without a body, and I hate saying that. I don't want to see anything killed. The best scenario, the best case, in my opinion, is somebody comes across a dead one and is able to bring it in. That would do it. That would be the best way. Short of that, maybe hitting one with a car and killing it. I don't know. What is that?
He cracks me up. He does. He's awesome.
We love torture. But yeah, man, we've had this same conversation on this show so many times. Unfortunately, we've seen photos aren't going to do it. Videos are not going to do it. If videos were going to do it, I mean, in my opinion, the mystery was solved in 1967. In October of 1967, them two cowboys put it to bed, in my opinion. But apparently not. It's not enough. So that video is not going to be enough. Photos are not going to be enough. Audio is not going to be enough. Prints are not going to be enough. We have all of that. It's going to take a body before science, recognizes it as a species or whatever it is. Again, my group, Mannimal Research, we are no kill. We are never, ever, ever going to put together a mission to go out and kill one of these things. As you saw Troy, some of you might have noticed in the comments, Troy said, we don't even allow long guns on our expeditions. We want you to protect yourself, but pistols, you carry something on your hip, because I fully believe that they know what guns are. So we just don't even carry rifles, shotguns, anything like that. Yeah. So
I think myself, and it's something that I've been going over in my mind. I think that every group should have some type of protocol.
Yeah.
If you come across a specimen that has deceased, like you said, I'm not out to try to kill one. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a sighting myself, and I question whether long guns that you can get as a civilian would be suitable for taking to this animal.
Yeah.
But if you come across one that is deceased or something like that, I think there should be some type of protocol. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. This person will know. This person will know. This person will be responsible for storing it, and nobody else knows where it's at. You know what I'm saying?
We've talked about this so many times on Brian and I have done a couple shows just on that Bigfoot podcast of protocol. And I'll take it a step further, Gary. You said each group needs its own protocol. I think the Bigfoot community as a whole needs one protocol, one that we all abide by. I
agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So what
in the years that I've dealt with this community, there's one thing that resonates true. You will never get the entire Bigfoot community to agree on one thing.
Exactly. You're right, man. We ain't gonna get shit done until we do, guys.
Yeah, that's the problem. There's a lot of back and forth in and even between groups, but we'll get into that later. Wayne, tell us about Sasquatch in Tennessee. What makes Tennessee special?
The Smoky Mountains, I think. Can you guys think of a better area? I mean,
Yeah.
I certainly.
Yeah, Billy can.
Where is it, Billy?
It's up here on some private land in Virginia.
Well, there you go. Well, I mean, when I say Smoky Mountains, I also mean like the Appalachian Trail. There's some spooky stuff going on in the Appalachian Trail, guys.
Yep, absolutely.
Y'all look into any of that?
Oh, there's a lot of missing people.
Hold on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I can be there in 15 minutes. My house borders the Shenandoah National Park, and all I have to do is go up on this trail right up here. 15 minutes, I'm on the trail.
Yeah, over on Paranormal Odyssey, Tiffany, my producer / co-host, she's an awesome lady. There she is. She just said hello, Wayne. I ain't seen her in here. But we do a lot of, because we're not just a Bigfoot show. We're paranormal. We talk about everything. We do a lot of missing persons stuff, and we get requested so much. People cannot get enough of the missing person stuff. And
I'm gonna kind of step in there a minute. I'm gonna kind of hold you up on that because I do have a follow-up question with that.
Okay.
And what are your thoughts on Sasquatch and social media? Now, we're all podcasters. You know, Billy runs this group. I just co-host. I do a lot of the questions and things. But as podcasters, what do you think about social media as far as Sasquatch research goes? Does it help or does it hurt?
That's a great question. Y'all are hitting me with some stuff I ain't never been asked.
That's Gary.
Social media, I despise. I hate social media. If it was not for Bigfoot, I wouldn't have any kind of social media account. So I guess that's my answer. That it's definitely necessary, because there are some great things that come out of social media as far as the Bigfoot community, and then there are some just buttholes, in my opinion. In my opinion, I don't want to, because I always rub people the wrong way and I tick people off, but I'm sorry, it's just me. These pareidolia, red circle squatches,
Yes,
absolutely destroying our subject, our community. We are being laughed at, y'all. Every time y'all post a picture of a wood line with a red circle, and they're getting clever, guys. They're not always red. They hit you with a green circle or a blue circle or a black circle. If you got to circle your image, don't post it. That's just a good rule of thumb, in my opinion. Ask yourself before you post a picture, is this going to add anything to the topic? If no, then just don't post it. So social media, I use social media.
Sorry, I had to do it.
That's a perfect example. That is a perfect.
not only is that the red circle of death, but that's also another one of my favorite things in the Sasquatch community. That is a stump squatch.
Is that a stump? A stump squatch.
If you watch that Sasquatch that you've circled right there with that red circle for 2 hours and it doesn't move at all, odds are pretty high that's a stump.
But you always have that person saying, "Look how stealthy, look how devoted they are," and
I think a lot of it, Wayne, comes from the human mind itself. Is like you said, pareidolia. It's designed to see things, faces, shapes, and things like that. And I think a lot of it happens like that. If I have to draw a circle, when I first started in this, I first joined Billy's group, Lord, 2006, 2007, maybe?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I had an odd photo that I'd found on the internet, and I sent it out, and I said, look, it's right here. And I put a red circle around it, and I got like 6 messages, don't do that. Don't do that. And then it dawned on me, if I see it, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to see it. It's a perspective. It's a point of view. And everybody goes out in the woods now with a cell phone. And everybody's like, oh, well, why don't you get a picture of it? Well, for starters, the camera that you have on your cell phone is not, and I don't care what cell phone you have. iPhone 23. You know, it's not a good quality camera. And once you have to zoom in and zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, you lose clarity every time.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is that. And I agree with you about the red circle. That is like the worst possible thing that you can do. Because what I see is not necessarily what somebody else is going to see in that photo.
Yeah. So, and to answer your question, in certain aspects, social media is great. It's at our fingertips. We can find it when we want it. But also, what's also at our fingertips is that bullcrap. And it makes us look silly.
Yeah, it is. It is. Wayne, next question.
Let me throw this up real quick.
Get it.
Start typing in your questions into the chat, and in between Gary's interview, we'll throw them up.
Some things that I wanted to get into here real quick. I asked all of our guests this, and this is a really strange question, and I'll explain it as I go. And the question is animal, mineral, or vegetable? And right now you're probably scratching your head. What is he talking about? Animal, do you think that Bigfoot is a living animal? Mineral, do you think that Bigfoot might be interdimensional or extraterrestrial? Or vegetable, do you think it might be spiritual, or do you think it has qualities of all three?
I think it's a living, breathing creature.
I'm right there with you, 100%. I haven't seen anything that leads me otherwise.
Why do they poop?
Yeah.
Why do they have to eat?
If it's interdimensional, can it just pop back into its own universe and do what it was doing?
Yeah.
Wayne, why does Wayne like to dress like a minion?
Damn it, Troy. Oh my God. Again, I wish I had a picture to share so you guys could see what we're talking about. I've got this pair of very, very, very bright yellow insulated overalls that I wear only for camping. And people say I look like a minion. I mean, they're comfortable as hell. They're very stylish. I think they're very flattering on me. What's Goody say?
I'm going to hop in on that one just a little bit right there. I will say this. Like I said, being a child of the 70s and the 80s, at one point in time in the 80s, it was thought that certain color wetsuits actually attracted great white sharks. And one of those colors, Goonie Goo Goo, just happened to be yellow.
So I will not wear my overalls in the ocean.
Do that.
Killing me.
Wayne, what I wanted to get into was let's talk about your thoughts on Sasquatch aggression. And like I said, on your show, your Paranormal Odyssey, you have a lot of the missing people in the national parks and the state parks and things like that. What are your thoughts on that?
As far as possible aggression from Bigfoot?
Yes, causing the missing people in the parks and things like that.
I think Bigfoot they can be a lot like us and like other species of animals. When we grew up, we had good dogs, we had bad dogs. There were dogs in the neighborhood that you could walk right up and pet, and there were dogs that would eat your face if you got too close to it.
Yep.
With us, the majority of people, you trust them. They're good, friendly people, but you got your psychopaths too that will snatch you up and steal you and hurt you any chance they get. I think it's the same. I think you got your good ones, you got your bad ones. It all depends on, I guess, how they were raised. I do believe Bigfoot they live in family structures. I honestly do. I believe that they have a mother, father, family type structure. I haven't seen it. I don't have anything to base that off of other than the thousands of people at this point that I've talked to. So yeah, I think they're like us. It varies.
Yeah.
I want to expand on that just a little bit before I get to Mick's question here, and we're getting a few of them built up. But
okay,
I'm gonna go with something that one of our guests on here, Tom Seawood. I don't know if you've ever heard of Tom or not. He's a Native American, and I'm probably going to butcher the name of his tribe, Kwakiwak tribe. And
Did you just make that up, Gary?
no, no.
God bless you.
But anyway, Tom says that you have an older male, and it makes a lot of sense. But you have an older male that's the alpha of that group.
Yeah.
And he gets put out by a younger male who is younger and stronger. And he pushes this older male out. Now, this older male has been pushed out of his own family group and becomes a rogue. And, of course, the rogue Sasquatch can be a lot of trouble. So that's his thoughts on that. But anyway, the question here from Wayne. A Sasquatch, Wayne, any Sasquatch hotspots near Mount Juliet or Miller's Grocery, a country cafe in Tennessee? He's heading down there in June.
I'm not familiar with those areas. I'm sorry. Again, my recommendation, I said it earlier, if you know those counties, go to the BFRO, pull up Tennessee, and you search by territory, put in the county that's going to be in, and that's a really, really good database to use.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we got one from your group here from Troy Two Fingers. And Troy says, what do you think of the possibility of the existence of feral people living in the Smokies?
I think it's definitely, oh man, I almost said it's likely. I don't know if I want to say it's likely or not. I think it's definitely a possibility. It's one of my most, and like I said, Troy is one of our loyals. He's one of my best friends. He's a great dude. So he knows me really well. He knows how I feel about the feral people. I mean, it's really, really interesting to me. I think there's something going on there. It's not Sasquatch. It's in my opinion, it's just a group of people that were either pushed out of normal society or chose to live outside of normal society and just haven't come back down. And if you've seen the Smoky Mountains, there's plenty of room up there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I'm going to go in on that one too a little bit there, Wayne, if you don't care. I'm going to try to help you on this one. I think it might be a possibility. I'm not going to say it's true, but there is a probability there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's possible, but it's probable.
Exactly.
There could be people living in the woods to escape society. Another one, Troy, are there pyramids in the Smokies?
I have no idea. I've never even thought about that question. I'm sorry. It's interesting. I'll definitely look into it, but no, I have no idea, buddy.
Yeah, I know that there's, and this may be what he's talking about. There's several mounds.
Yes.
We have a place here in nearby called Moundsville, which is what it was named after. So there are certain areas here in the state of Virginia, and I know other states that have mounds that some people call pyramids. So,
and I'm gonna go in on this one, Troy. If you're really interested in like the mounds and the mound builders, there's a pretty good documentary that's out about an ancient apocalypse, and he gets quite a bit into the mounds. Now, there's one mound that really fascinates me as an American mound, and I can't remember if it's Pennsylvania or Ohio. It's one of those two states that it's in, and I can't remember. I'm old; my memory's not good, but it's a snake mound.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at the mound itself, it goes in a specific direction, and the snake has a hood on it. And I mean, it's a really pronounced hood. And I think that that's pretty interesting that it would have a hood on it. The only snakes that really I can think of in the United States that project a hood, you have racers. They will flatten their neck out and create a small hood to try to make their head look bigger. And you have the hognose snake that will actually project its neck out.
I didn't know there were any in the U.S. that did that.
Yeah, there's only a couple. But the snake itself does not look like a hognose or a black racer or whatever kind of racer you want to call it. It looks more like a cobra. And that's never been present in the United States that I know of.
Wow.
Got one from Goonie Goo Goo here, Wayne. Do you think Dogman versus Bigfoot, do they have a rivalry?
What's up, Goonie Goo Goo? Guys, I'm surprised we didn't get into this tonight. I don't know what I think about Dogman, and I always get looked at cross-eyed, funny when I say that. I just don't know. I'm not saying that I don't think they exist. I just don't know what to think about them. We have an outing coming up that Gunny Goo Goo is going to be at. Troy, Chris. It's a Mannimal outing at the LBL coming up the middle of next month in March, and that's supposed to be pretty heavy Dogman territory, but I don't know. I don't know what to think. I've always heard that they were rivals, but when I think Dogman, I always kind of lean toward a misidentified Bigfoot. But the
I'm kind of in that same camp, Wayne.
Yeah,
for real. And I don't really want to. I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or hurt anybody's feelings. I'm fascinated with Dogman myself.
Yeah,
because just the thoughts of it kind of gives me the creeps in a way, because here you have this werewolf walking around. But the Dogman is a really new thing as far as cryptid research go. And you have a lot of people, and I know they say there's several different types, but they say that it actually has like canine legs and stands upright, which a canine style leg is not conducive to upright bipedal movement.
No, it's not.
So that really, that kind of fascinates me. And I'm kind of like you. I wonder if it might be misidentification of maybe a known animal like a black bear, or if it might be some type of, they say there's different types of Sasquatch. I don't know. And one of the Sasquatch they talk about is the Gugway.
I was about to say it,
like a baboon. Now, I've never seen a Gugway. I don't know if they exist. I've never seen them.
Everyone talks about the Gugways. They call them the face eaters, and they're supposed to be the meanest of the mean. And everything you hear about Dogman is they're mean as hell. So, are people, if there are types, are people seeing Gugways and calling them?
One of the types, if you look at the different types of Dogman they show, it looks like a baboon or maybe even a mandrill with a really pronounced ape face and snout, the squared snout like a baboon. So it's hard to tell. I mean, dealing with Sasquatch is hard enough. Okay, people think you're crazy because you're out in the woods looking for something that's not supposed to exist. But like I said, when you have one walk across the road in front of you, it changes your entire perspective.
That's right.
I'm not going to take anything away from anybody's story or anybody's sighting. That goes along with the woo, which I wanted to talk about, but we're kind of running out of time. But, I don't take, if somebody says, oh, it just was there 1 minute and it just phased out. Okay, I have to take them at their word. And one of the terms that I like to use is it pulled a Homer Simpson. And everybody has watched The Simpsons, and you know how Homer gets into the bush and he just fades away.
Yep.
You're in the forest, it's not that difficult.
No.
Fade away. I was United States Marine, and I've seen some pretty amazing stuff that we do in the military. So, phasing out is not that hard for me to believe. I'm not going to say that it did phase out. Maybe it just slowly ducked down or stepped over an embankment or something like that. I'm always looking for a scientific answer instead of the big bang woo.
Yeah.
Because it's
and I think what we have to do.
Goodness sakes, Mick.
You're
gonna make Gary make another shirt.
Maybe that was part of that DNA study. Brings me to another good question that I really want to talk about. Wayne, is what do you think about the DNA studies? We have a new one that's coming out from North Carolina State, Billy. Is it North Carolina State?
I think so. I think it is, yeah.
Darby Orcutt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole show in itself. Talk about the whole Melba Ketchum thing. I was really, really excited when all of that first came out. I thought, this is finally it. We're going to get something conclusive. And then you hear all the people with the back and forth, no, it's human contaminated, and there's just so much going on there. I don't know what to make of it,
Well,
and I am interested to see
point
with this new one, though.
On that point, too, about human contamination, I'm part Native American myself. I'm a Cherokee and Shawnee. And a lot of the stories in both Cherokee and Shawnee history is that Sasquatch will take young women and breed with them and have viable offspring. So when you think about that, that kind of goes straight in line with what Melba Ketchum said, that the female side of their DNA is human.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to take anything away. I would love to talk to Miss Ketchum about it, Dr. Ketchum. I'm fascinated with her study on it. But it's to the point now that she's received so much ridicule and backlash and everything else that nobody wants to talk to her. Yeah. And I'm kind of hoping that with this new DNA study that we'll get something that we can actually move forward with, or something that may even verify what Miss Ketchum said, Dr. Ketchum said.
Yeah, because we can't keep doing the same stuff. We got to have something new.
Yeah. All right, Troy, I know you said you had to, that was one of the reasons we came on early, because I think you got to get ready and head out.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Well, we appreciate it. I don't know. Do you got a few minutes, or do you need to go?
Yeah, I've got a couple minutes if you got another question.
All right. Okay. Well, what I was going to do is close out the show, but then come back. Me and Gary will come back and have a little conversation with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So just wanted to thank everybody. We had a nice crowd in here. I think Wayne brought all of his buddies with him tonight.
Every one of them.
Every one of them.
They are loyal.
They are. Yeah. We have our loyal listeners too. We've got Digger Dogs in here all the time, Mick's in here all the time. Tennessee Cherokee. I mean, all the time. So there's so many in here tonight, I ain't even got time to name them all. So I just know that I appreciate y'all. And then Wayne, if you could send me Chris's email or whatever, or if she's got a Facebook page, I can send her that song.
Awesome.
So that she has it. So,
okay.
All right. We want to thank everybody. So next week we will have a gentleman who is a Navy SEAL, Mr. Daniel Toth. This will be the first time he has been interviewed on a podcast. They just started a Bigfoot group somewhere over there in the Midwest. I'd have to look it up. I can't remember. And it's a group of Navy SEALs, retired Navy SEALs. So I was like, good for you. I figure if anybody's going to find it, you guys will.
Yeah.
So we'll have him on next Monday night back at our regular time at 9 p.m. Eastern. And
I would just like to say that the reason the Navy SEALs exist, I mean, they do phenomenal work. But the reason that Navy SEALs exist is not everybody can be a United States Marine.
We knew that was coming.
Amen.
Wow.
All right. Well, thank you all for, don't forget, Facebook, on our Facebook page, there's a poll. On our YouTube page, there's a poll. Vote for what you would like to hear us talk about topic-wise, because we're going to start doing that. But until then, until next week, you all have a great rest of the week, and we will see you next time here on Sasquatch Watch Radio. Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.